The Associated Press reported just a few months ago that People Without Borders had been busy. At the time of that article in December, they were responsible for 4 of the caravans. The AP reported that the group, quote, helped charter the route, arrange the bus transportation, negotiate with Mexican officials to provide protection. It also raised more than $46,000 online for emergency housing and food. They're no longer trying to stay under the radar. The press is starting to report on them, and they're eating it up. They're even bragging on social media that they are the, quote, group that accompanied the largest caravan so far. But who are they? Who are the people behind People Without Borders? When I talked about this last April, I noted that very little was known about them, who was behind them. All we had were a few ground operations and the ground operation level organizers. Well, now we have more. So who are they? Well, they're actually a group of nobodies, as long as you consider the who's who in Marxist, Leninist, communist activism based in Chicago, a nobody. We're going to start with Mama Bear, Emma Lozano. She is currently listed now as the executive director of People Without Borders. She's also the head and the founder of another group based out of Chicago called Centro Sin Fronteras, or Center Without Borders. So you got the people and the center. Now, Emma is part of a Marxist activist family that spans decades. Her brother was Rudy Lozano. Rudy, he founded the Center for Autonomous Social Action, or CASA. They were a Marxist-Leninist group that advocated ethnic Mexican class revolution and preached about a world without borders. Back then, Rudy was known as Compañero Rudy, or Comrade Rudy. A study from the UC San Diego described these 2 young activists from Chicago as, and I quote, the latest members of a zealous group of college students, community organizers, and young professionals. They strove to lead and build a national immigrant rights movement vis-a-vis CASA, informed by far-left politics, Marxist-Leninist thought, a communist ideology based on the theories of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin, with the international worldview. They called for a collective mobilization. Oh, socialists aren't communists. Really? Because these guys are. Rudy's son, Pepe, now this is Emma's nephew. He's in a new class all by himself. He's another echelon community organizer and activist in Chicago. In 2005, he was a member of the Communist Youth League. Love that. And in 2006, he graduated to just the regular Communist Party USA. He was listed as a member, just a chip off the old block. Now, Dad, unfortunately, was murdered in Chicago, so Rudy is out of the picture. But his sister, Emma, founded Center Without Borders. She did this because she's a true believer in people. Now, People Without Borders would soon follow. But we're not close to exposing the crazy family here. Emma's husband is a man named Walter Coleman. Slim is what they like to call him. I haven't heard that for a while. Anyway, both Walter and Emma are co-pastors at a church, Lincoln United Memorial Church. Now, this is great because this is another who's who among the Marxists in Chicago. In the late 1980s, he helped elect a woman called Helen Schiller, Chicago City Council. Helen, of course, was a Marxist. She was famous for organizing the white support arm for the Black Panthers, which we all love, called Intercommunal Survival Committee. The Chicago Tribune called her, quote, a career revolutionary. This is starting to sound a little like a twisted version of the Brady Bunch, where Karl Marx is the father and Friedrich Engels, I'm home, sweetheart, donning a blonde wig. But remember, there is no such thing as gender, so that's okay. And the family that engages in revolutionary class warfare together stays together. In 2006, Emma and Walter were both pastors at the United Methodist Church. Now, Coleman, who had been, who'd gone from a relatively quiet, out to pasture kind of days as an activist, suddenly found himself thrust back into Chicago newspapers when he very publicly allowed his church, you'll remember this story. Do you remember her? Elvira? She was so sad. She wasn't a communist. She was just somebody who was here just to make it with her son. And we wanted to send her back. She had been deported in 1997 for fraud, but she re-entered the U.S. the same year and then was rearrested in 2002. But instead of, facing deportation, she just went to church. And she sought refuge with the Marxist Brady Bunch inside. Now, Elvira, under Lozano and Coleman's tutelage, became the face of the growing sanctuary city movement. These are the people that brought that to you. She founded an organization called Latino Families United. It was advocating for sanctuary, amnesty, and a partnership with this organization. Oh. And she had a new idea. How about migrant caravans?